Hey guys and girls, we're going to continue here with Chapter 7, Section 3 Notes, set in the Pace Washington administration. In this video, the notes will cover the following key concepts. 331A, various American Indian groups repeatedly evaluated and adjusted their alliances with Europeans, other tribes, and the United States, seeking to limit migration of white settlers and maintain control of tribal lands and natural resources. British alliances with American Indians contributed to tensions between the United States and Britain. 331D, an ambiguous relationship between the federal government and American Indian tribes contributed to problems regarding treaties and American Indian legal claims relating to the seizure of their lands. 332A, the U.S. government forged diplomatic initiatives aimed at dealing with continued British and Spanish presence in North America as U.S. settlers migrated beyond Appalachians and sought free navigation of the Mississippi River. And finally, 332B, war between France and Britain resultant from the French Revolution, presented challenges to the United States over issues of free trade and foreign policy and fostered political disagreements. So in Section 3, we're going to look at three major areas and problems that Washington had to deal with. The Indian Wars, the Whiskey Rebellion, and then the war between France and Britain as a result of the French Revolution. So let's start with Indian resistance. So Indian resistance to white settlement erupted in the Ohio Valley. Attempts were made to negotiate peace in this region. Treaties such as those established by Territorial Governor Arthur St. Clair proved to be a failure. In October of 1790, General Josiah Harmar and his army of 1,450 troops were attacked by Shawnees, Miamis, and Potawatomis, and 500 of Harmar's men were killed before the rest retreated. As a result, in early 1791, President Washington ordered a new attack led by General St. Clair, who commanded 2,000 troops, and a direct assault on the Miamis on the Wabash River in present-day Indiana. On November 4th of 91, Indians from several tribes killed over 500 troops and most of the expedition's female camp followers. As a result of this and this failure by St. Clair, Washington relieved him of his command. Washington's, after failed negotiation attempts between him and the Mohawk leader Joseph Brant, Brant's going to vow to their people that no white settlement would enter west of the Ohio Valley. Newly appointed Major General of the U.S. Army, Anthony Wayne, and his forces soundly defeated Indian forces at the Battle of Fallen Timbers in 1794. This subsequent Treaty of Greenville permanently ended Indian resistance in the region. Ultimately, Washington's goals for the Northwest Territory and dealing with the Indians were mostly accomplished. White settlers got the land they wanted, British lost their powerful ally, and the power and prestige of the U.S. Army were enhanced. But it was not all easy. Next, we have the Whiskey Rebellion. So in western Pennsylvania, farmers are going to resist Alexander Hamilton, who's the Secretary of Treasury, his new tax on whiskey. As a means to generate extra revenue to fund the debt, Hamilton believed that a tax on whiskey would be unpopular, but not to the whole nation. Given the dependence on whiskey as a source of revenue for these Pennsylvania farmers, however, the tax was simply unbearable. Visions of the 1760s reappeared as protesters tarred and feathered tax collectors, and protesters even organized a committee of public safety in detestation of the tax. And that Committee of Public Safety, of course, if you remember back from your world history freshman year, mirrors that of the Committee of Public Safety of the French Revolution. As a result of this uprising, Washington will lead, and will be the only president ever to do so, lead troops into Pennsylvania to crush the rebellion, although once the troops arrived, the rebels dispersed without a fight. However, undoubtedly, this action proved that the federal government would reign supreme, and again, Washington only president to ever leave troops into battle, even though there really wasn't any fighting during the Whiskey Rebellion. All right, and lastly, going foreign policy here with the French Revolution. So when the French Revolution broke out, followed by war in Europe, largely between France and England, Washington declared a stance of neutrality for the United States. However, steering a course of neutrality would be a difficult task given the traded nature of the U.S. In effect, the 1790s featured provocation by both the British and French in regards to American shipping neutrality, bringing much tension, fury, and frustration to both Washington and the later Adams administration. To squash these growing calls for war with Britain, Washington sent Chief Justice John Jay to London to solve the problem. Jay's treaty, however, accomplished very little. Britain did agree to pay compensation for its attacks on shipping since 1793, but not to end the ban on neutral shipping to France. And Britain also agreed to remove the last of its troops from Fort Detroit and Fort Niagara. In Washington's final year as president, he sent Thomas Pinckney to Spain and Madrid to negotiate a treaty with Spain. This treaty, more successful than Jay's, set borders between the United States and Spanish Florida, as well as opened the port of New Orleans to American farmers. So that is a wrap here for Section 3, just briefly touching on 3 of the major challenges of the Washington administration and how he responded. Stay tuned next for the Section 4 notes video.